This week's strikes are Israel's biggest ever attacks on Iran, but the two countries have been enemies for decades. Iran's regime calls for the destruction of Israel and backs violent groups like Hezbollah and Hamas. Israel believes Iran...
Wow, I wonder if Israel does anything like that.
...wants to develop a nuclear bomb and says it's an existential threat.
Israel has a nuclear bomb. Are you going to mention that? No? Just ignore that? Cool, cool.
Now it's carried out the biggest attack on Iran in decades, killing military leaders and scientists and targeting nuclear sites. Iran's hit back, bombing Israel's cities too, Jerusalem and...
Also, they didn't just target nuclear sites. They literally targeted the fucking head of the negotiation with the Americans. They purposefully killed so you couldn't have a fucking negotiated settlement. God, this is fucking embarrassing. This is such unbelievably one-sided, fucking unbalanced shit content. And I'm having to fucking pay for it. From the supposedly balanced BBC. What a joke.
In Tel Aviv, an outburst of conflict that could have heavy costs for us all. Well, the Israeli ambassador to the UK, Tzipi Hotovely, is here with us this morning.
Why? Why are you giving airtime to this fucking propagandist, genocidal freak?
Welcome to the studio. Good morning. This is a dramatic escalation in the long-burning, simmering enmity between Israel and Iran. Why won't you heed calls from the UK and others to de-escalate, to stop?
Because de-escalation means that Iran won't have nuclear capabilities. It's as simple as...
No, they don't have nuclear capabilities. The Americans already said they're not anywhere fucking near nuclear capabilities. You are lying.
That the UK has been our partner for many years to fight Iran's nuclear ambitions. Everyone agrees, the US, the UK, other allies, that Iran...
Everyone agrees, the UK and US, you know, the international community that matters. Make it too obvious, why don't you? You know when they say international opinion and they just mean like America and maybe some parts of Western Europe? Yeah.
And with nuclear capabilities will be devastating to the region, including the Gulf countries. Now, we are in a point where President Trump gave 60 days of negotiation to the Iranians to give a diplomatic solution, and the Iranians didn't really want to have any diplomatic solution. They were actually, when the IAEA published this report that was clearly showing that Iran was misleading the international community.
Talking of that, why don't you let that very same organisation, the IAEA, the International Atomic Energy Agency, into any of your sites? Tzipi? Why not? I mean, you literally think their reporting is fair because you're literally praying in aid the IAEA. So why don't you let them into any of your facilities? That's interesting, isn't it? So the IAEA only get to investigate Iran, but not Israel. Ever. Cool. That's definitely fair and just and legal. Fucking prick.
Enriching uranium. And we saw, with our intelligence abilities, that they were racing fast to get nuclear bombs with the combination of enrichment and weaponization. When all this happened...
Oh yeah, just like Iraq was. They definitely have weapons of mass destruction. Honest, you can believe us this time. Honest. Yeah.
In what year do you think Benjamin Netanyahu first warned that Iran was 3 to 5 years away from building a nuclear bomb? He wrote a book in 1995, didn't mention the fact that he'd pledged 3 years previously that they'd have a bomb within 3 years. Instead, he repeated the claim that Iran would have the bomb this time by 5 to 7 years at the most, which would mean that 2002 at the latest would be the point. 7 years after that, he told the visiting US congressional delegation that Iran was just 1 to 2 years away from having a nuclear weapon. So it would have then been by 2011. And now he's making exactly the same claim to justify the bombing of Iran overnight. The same claim that he has been making since at least 1992.
There is no question whatsoever that Saddam is seeking and is working and is advancing towards the development of nuclear weapons. No question whatsoever.
This man's lies killed thousands of U.S. soldiers and...
Okay, well, you get the idea with that, yeah. So, yeah, there's absolutely no doubt Saddam Hussein's got nuclear weapons. And there's absolutely no doubt whatsoever that Iran, they were like, this close to getting nuclear weapons. They're honest. Fucking hell. What a joke. What a joke.
We had to move fast to operate against Iran's nuclear ambitions.
But let me tell people also what the Director of Intelligence of the United States said very clearly recently. We continue to assess that Iran is not yet building a nuclear weapon. Israel has faced ongoing threats from Iran for many years.
Laura?
There was no imminent threat.
There was imminent threat, and can I please ask you something?
No, there's no imminent threat. She literally just read to you that there was no imminent threat and that you're a liar.
Both are not nuclear experts, but I think everyone knows that in order to have an enrichment of uranium, you need to have, for your civil capabilities, it's enough to have 3.5%, and they were enriching beyond 60%. So what do you think was their aim?
And yet the assessment from the United States was that as things stand, Iran has not at this point been building a nuclear weapon. There was, in that regard, no imminent threat, and there were talks
There
due
was
today.
an imminent threat.
No, there wasn't. You're a liar. You are in fact lying, Tzipi Hotovely. You're a liar. You're a lying bitch. You're a genocidal freak. Get the fuck out of my country. Leave immediately.
I beg to differ. You're definitely not in line with the fact that the Iranians were both creating this program to destroy Israel, to eliminate Israel. And you know something? After 7th of October, if there is one thing we learned...
Look, I don't give a fuck about 7th of October anymore. Right? Having spent the last 18 months watching Palestinians have to scoop the bits remaining of their children into plastic bags, you can fucking keep your sob story to yourself. I don't give a fuck about this dumb shit about October 7th anymore. Okay? Cry me a fucking river at this point. You've used it as an excuse to further your genocidal fucking campaign. Fuck you. Okay? You have spat on the corpses of the people who died on October the 7th. You sick bastards.
Now enemies are saying clearly they want to eliminate Israel, and they are preparing the capabilities.
Is there a country around you haven't fucking bombed in the last 18 months? You've invaded everywhere. The only threat to peace in that region is you.
I think the IAEA report is quite clear about that. Then we should believe them. And Israel here was acting...
I'd like to believe the IAEA when they're allowed into your facilities, yeah. Are you going to do that at any point ever, Tzipi? Are the Israeli government ever going to allow the IAEA inspectors into your sites? Because if not, you can shove that up your arse as well.
An act of self-defense.
But you were
and it was an imminent threat.
But you were acting 3 days before diplomatic talks were scheduled. They were meant to be happening today. There was that option. And instead of giving another 3 days where there could have been a chance at resolving this without bloodshed, without attacks on civilians, your own civilians overnight now being attacked and losing their lives.
No, let me tell
Why
you
was
something.
Israel unable to give another 3 days before striking like this?
First of all, the 60 days been expired. And we saw that Iran has no intentions to get into a diplomatic solution here.
Except that they literally had talks lined up for 3 days after you did this. So that's obviously not true.
They've been doing what they've been doing for the last 20 years. They were clear that they want to have nuclear weapon. And, you know, Israel knows
Was it
how
clear? On what
this can
basis?
be dangerous because we operated in the past. Our history shows twice we operated. 1981, we operated against
Hey, the Jack Meller in chat. Oi, oi.
Iraq. And 2007, we operated against...
Yeah, you operated against Iraq, where you lied and said he had weapons of mass destruction there, and he didn't. And now you're doing literally the same thing. You're like a band who had one hit that one time, and they've been living off it for fucking 40 years. Everyone's got nuclear weapons except us, apparently, somehow. Fucking embarrassing.
The nuclear aspirations of Assad in Syria. Both times, the international community owes huge thank you to Israel. And it's the same case.
You fucking clown. You fucking clown. You owe us a massive debt of gratitude for destabilising an entire region for our own geopolitical, ethno-nationalist ends. I mean, you're literally occupying the Golan Heights. You're occupying parts of fucking Syria. You're occupying... you've invaded various of your neighbours. You've bombed various of your neighbours. You're a fucking rogue state. You shouldn't be being interviewed in the fucking... on the TV. You should be being interviewed at The Hague.
Here, Europe owes a huge thank you to Israel for doing that, and the Gulf countries as well. Our region would have been a place that is not safe for anyone if Iran would have accomplished their plan.
What is your ultimate intention here? Are you trying to overthrow the Iranian government by force? Because you haven't just been attacking nuclear facilities.
Which, by the way, is illegal under international law. Having action with the implication or direct implication and goal of regime change is illegal.
No, you have killed senior military figures. Are you trying to overthrow their regime by force?
Our Prime Minister was very clear. We were not aiming to regime change. This is not the aim of this military operation. We are clear about...
Really? So why are Reuters reporting that even Trump, the craven bastard, blocked Israel's plan to assassinate the Supreme Leader Khamenei?
Harming and damaging in a way that will create a total rollback to Iran's nuclear program. This is our aim, and we are also aiming to destroy the ballistic missiles program. Now, you've seen the damage created yesterday.
Why? Hang on, why? Iran has a right to defend itself. Iran has a right to defend itself. Why should you be able to just get rid of its ballistic missiles? Are you going to get rid of your ballistic missiles? I don't think you are.
We're talking about civilians being targeted. Israel is not targeting civilians while Iran...
Yeah, you are. Yeah, the fuck you are. Imagine that. A country targeting civilians deliberately. Like, say, I don't know, you have been doing in the Gaza Strip for the last 18 months. Maybe.
Iran is targeting...
But civilians have been killed in Iran. Civilians have been killed.
We are talking about
Also,
Israel.
are you going to mention at any point... You're a fucking journalist, Laura. She's going on about, oh, Iran's going to get nuclear weapons. Are you going to question this motherfucker on the fact that Israel has nuclear weapons and will not allow international inspectors into those facilities? At any point, are you going to fucking bother to mention that? Because I think that would be a very pertinent point to bring up in regard to this conversation. If we're talking about rogue states of religious extremists having... weapons of mass destruction that we can't fucking inspect, I would say having the Israeli ambassador there and asking them about Israel being exactly that set of things would be a pertinent thing to ask them about. Maybe. You know. But that's just me. What do I know? Clearly.
Calling the Iranian people to evacuate. We're not seeing the same...
Well, hang on. Time out, cunt. Who the fuck are you to tell the Iranian people they have to evacuate their own capital city? Also, even aside from that, the idea that you can just push people around like that. Secondly, we've seen from Gaza what your evacuation notices mean. You tell people to evacuate a certain area and go over to that area over there. That's a safe area over there. Then you bomb them in that area. Your evacuation notices are the most horrific rug pull in all of human history. They are a death sentence for everybody. Again, you sick, ghoulish, murderous bastard.
The same coaches from the Iranian people, Iranian regime. Actually, what we're seeing is targeting communities in the center of Israel. My parents live in the city that was hurt yesterday. Now, I was talking to my father and to my mother, 3 o'clock in the morning Israel time, and their whole house was shaking. And
oh, wow, you can always go for the fuck back there and then just not come back here, ever, again. Go and protect your parents, go on. Fuck off anywhere else and just don't come back here. And again, the cry-bully bullshit to have flattened Gaza. We've all fucking seen that happening day after day after day. And then be like, 2 of our buildings were hit. Can you imagine such pain? Why are we in this shelter? How do I explain to people that I'm in this shelter? Fuck off.
And they had to go to their shelter. They're in their 70s. We're talking about children
that is retaliation to strikes by Israel. That is retaliation
Can I
from
remind
Iran.
you, April and October, 300 missiles and UAVs being targeting Israeli civilians time after time from the Iranian regime. Israel has been tolerating this for too long, and the world has been tolerating this for too long. And I think the world
Israel's been super chill about the entire affair, yeah.
Much better place without Iran's nuclear ambitions.
Civilians have already died on both sides. Reportedly, more than 70 people have been killed by Israeli strikes in Tehran. You have, on this occasion, directly started this conflict with a deadly foe. Tens and tens of thousands of people have been killed in Gaza. You will not put the brakes on there, despite repeated calls from your allies around the world, including the UK government. You've been accused by the United Nations of atrocities. Will Benjamin Netanyahu stop?
You don't need to be accused by anyone. We've fucking seen it with our own eyes. We saw what they fucking did to those people queuing up for food, and that was right at the very start. They were queuing up for flour, weren't they? And they were fucking gunned down on purpose. And it's been like that every fucking day. God almighty, why are you giving this propagandist wanker fucking airtime?
Stop at nothing. Is he listening to anyone?
Our Prime Minister is being backed up by all the opposition leaders in Israel. This is not a political...
Oh, the other rape enthusiasts in the Israeli Knesset. Yeah, oh, fantastic. Brilliant. Yeah, we know you're a sick society. Filled with far-right lunatics. Yes, we're aware of that. I don't care. It's not an excuse.
Decision of one leader that is making a decision for his own interest. This is a decision for the safety of Israel, the region, and the world for the coming many years. And I want to say about the Endgame, and I think this is what people care about. Actually, I believe that it gives better opportunity to get to a ceasefire in Gaza, because once the patron of Hamas, all the proxy system that Iran has built around Israel.
Israel fucking supported Hamas. Supported the rise of Hamas, so that the Gaza Strip would be cut off from the PA, right? They wanted them broken away from the Palestinian Authority. Your government is to blame for this.
This vicious plan to invade Israel and to barbarically kill our people through Hezbollah, through the Houthis, and through Hamas. This will stop.
Hamas!
Once Iran won't have the capabilities and the ability to sponsor terrorism all around the world and around Israel. And I believe actually we're getting closer to the opportunity that Hamas will understand that it must, finally bring our hostages back and make sure that the war in Gaza...
You could have had the hostages back fucking months ago, you lying bastard. You lying evil bastard. You could have done this. You had no interest in doing this. Benjamin Netanyahu has no interest in war stopping. Because as soon as war stops, his government collapses and he goes to prison. We all know this.
So we'll stop.
Okay, Ambassador, thanks so much for giving us...
Fuck
Thank
off.
you. Hoping for...
Fuck off, you rancid cunt.
Very much indeed.
For a safer world.
Thank you very much for coming in. Let's now hear then from...
She needs to be kicked the fuck out immediately. She don't belong here. Fuck her off. Get her to Israel. Put her on the first fucking flight and piss her off out of here.